So today, new deck. So you might recognise this deck already because the deck that I've been skating for the past 6 months is actually the same deck as what I've just bought now, or what arrived today. This is actually going to be the first time ever in my 16, 17 years of skateboarding that I've bought the same deck twice. When I buy a new deck, I like to go from one brand to the other. I like to explore, you know what I mean, try new decks, try new graphics, whatever looks good at the time. That's what I normally like to do. But I'm at a point where I feel like I found a deck, maybe not the brand, but I found a deck specifically which feels really good. And it lasted me 6 months, which is pretty crazy for me really, because a deck I'll go through in 2 to 3 months. After the maybe 2-month mark, I'll start feeling like the pop starts going a little bit and it's not that enjoyable to skate, but I'll still, go for another month or so until it starts to chip. And then when it starts to chip, that's when I normally get a new deck, because I hate riding a board with like chips in the nose and the tail and stuff. But anyway, so yeah, I've been skating this deck, which is on my board, since February. That's 6 months, 5 to 6 months. And this is the condition it's in currently. Also, this is the exact same deck, but it's got the silver wrap. If you watched on my last videos, we silver wrapped over the graphic just because we did. But this is the exact same deck. You can see like the little markings maybe there, which are on both of the decks. But anyway, so you look at the condition so far. The tail, no chips. The tail's just gone a little bit square, which is absolutely normal for all decks. But there's not been any chips in the deck, which is great, and it's felt pretty good the entire time. It's only really the last month that I've started to feel like the pop's going a little bit, and it's a bit of a struggle to do certain tricks. Like tray flips can feel need a bit more effort in them now and things like that. The pop's just not really there. But so going back to why I never normally buy the same deck twice, and I haven't done that before. So like I said, usually I like to explore and try new things, but after so many years now of skating, I feel that, I've tried most brands and I kind of have an idea of what I like, what I don't like, and yeah, so this deck just feels really good. Right, so going back to the reasons as to why I bought the same deck. So there's 2 reasons as to why I bought the same deck. The first one being that, this deck has been tried and tested for me. I've skated it for 6 months. It's been a solid deck. And I feel now I prefer to just choose a deck which I love the graphic of, I love the gold, and I know that it's going to be a solid deck, rather than risking it and then buying a brand or a deck that I've never tried before and then maybe not being that happy with it. And the other reason is, it's kind of like the same reason really, but it's a little bit different. So the last few decks I've bought, a few of them have been pretty disappointing. And, there's nothing worse than, spending £40-50 on a deck and then it just being not what you wanted. It doesn't feel great, and it just doesn't last. It's a pain, honestly. So the last few decks that I skated, I'll quickly tell you now. So this isn't in order, but this is just like the last 4 or 5 decks I skated. So this was a primitive Dragon Ball Z deck. That was about £65. That was the most expensive deck of all. It's probably the most expensive deck I ever bought. I know that's not true actually. I bought when I was younger, a bit off track here. They used to have these carbon fiber skateboards called Rev Deck, and they were made for like vert and stuff. But when I was younger, me and my friend bought one each. We got one for Christmas, and they were like £120, and yeah, they were fully carbon fiber, and you get these carbon fiber splinters, and I've still got a carbon fiber splinter in my finger, which you probably can't see. Anyway, off track. So that was a primitive Dragon Ball Z deck, which I did really like. It didn't last that long, but I did really like that deck. This is probably the worst deck that I've ever had, that I've ever bought, and it was a passport deck. So, Passport aren't known for making decks. Like, they're more of like a clothing brand, or that's what they started out as. I think now they're making decks. And that deck was £60. It was originally bought just for the wall because it was like a nice graphic. But even so, the graphic was like quite low quality. But yeah, that deck lasted me about 3 weeks, no joke. After about 3 weeks, of skating it. Like, look at the chip on the top. That is bloody massive. You can see it. And then, yeah, the tail's gone like, let me pull that back actually. Look at that. Terrible. But yeah, that was after about 3 weeks. By far the worst deck I've ever skated for that price. Then we have a girl deck. It's pretty good, pretty standard, you know. Good deck, cost me like £60 again, I think. It was a good deck, not much else to say. Lasted me. Then I bought a Madness Coffin deck, which is, you know, this actually lasted me quite a while. I enjoyed this deck. And it's a coffin board. So it kind of, you know, I got it more just to try it out. And I liked it, but that was a risk again. I got bored of skating like a coffin board after a while because I couldn't really do like no slides and nollie stuff on it very well. And then the other deck, which I've not got with me, I don't know where it's gone. It was the Lizzie Armato Birdhouse board, and I hated that deck. It felt awful. And that was about £40, so that was cheap, but I did not like it at all. So I was disappointed with that one. Disappointed with a few of them really. But yeah, and then the most recent one, obviously the Almost Goronzi deck, or however you call his name, Goronzi, whatever, the Max Runway deck, which yeah, I've really enjoyed. So, which is why I got another one. I can rely on it, and I know that it's going to be a good deck, and I love the graphic, and it should last me a while if it's going to be the same as this one that I've reskated. Just to quickly talk about this deck. So, Almost made a line of these, and they're all basically like a rip-off of designer brands. So this is the Versace one they did. So it's like a rip-off of the Versace logo with a cat, and it's gold wrapped, obviously. Cost £55. And from what I know, from looking at getting our own decks made with plant, when you get a board gold wrapped or silver wrapped, it ups the price. It's quite expensive to do as a manufacturer. So if this wasn't gold, it would probably go for like £45 maybe, which is like pretty cheap for a deck for a good brand, especially a brand like Almost. But yeah, this is £55. So not the most expensive, but it's definitely up there with those kind of decks with, like, you know, the girls, the chocolate, primitive, whatever. But yeah. So, and you know, I'm not going to go into why I think this deck is so good, because honestly I don't know enough about the manufacturing of decks or the production of decks and what makes them good or bad or whatever. But the few things that it says about this deck, I'll quickly read them out. So 100% Canadian maple. I'm pretty sure that's just a standard with, like, you know, all professional level decks. One thing that I think Almost push is that it's resin 7. Which is apparently a 7-ply epoxy construction. Again, I have no idea if this is marketing slang or what. I'm not knowledgeable about the production of decks. And it's a single press deck. And it says the strongest and most resilient, which is referring to the Canadian maple. It's lighter and stronger than standard 7-ply, which is the epoxy. Every deck feels the same. I guess, yeah, okay. Anyway. Enough of that, because it's just boring marketing talk. But yeah, so that's what we have today. So I'm going to set this up actually, and then go for a skate. I'm really excited. Again, it's been 6 months since I had new decks. I'm really excited for that, like, new pop feel. Where's my grip tape? So we got some clear grip tape, Jessup's clear grip tape. And also, I wanted to put some stickers. These are just like stickers from like an anime hunter, but I wanted to put some stickers underneath the deck like I did in my vert board. If you've watched that video, it's just full of like Dragon Ball Z stickers, and it looked really cool under the clear grip tape. But most of the stickers that came today, they're actually pretty awful, and there's only, like, you know, a handful of them which I like, so I'm probably just going to use 1 or 2 of them under the deck, and then see how that looks. The top of the deck is green, which is like probably my least favourite colour, and it's got a massive Almost logo. And, you know, I'm not particularly that arsed about the Almost logo or the brand, so that is not going in my favour. But we'll try it anyway. We'll put some stickers on, and we'll see how it looks. But yeah. I need a sharper blade.